Pioneer community. My name is Keith Hassel, and I am the Executive Director for Career and Professional Development here at Sacred Heart University. We are very fortunate to have an outstanding panel here today to address many questions that we've received from our parent populations. Now, we know as a parent or as a family member, you have your students' best interests at mind, and you want to make sure that they are taking advantage of all the tools and the resources available to them while they're here at Sacred Heart. Now, that's what we're going to be going through today. We're going to be addressing some of the questions that we have received over the past few months about how parents and families might be able to support and to help their students as they take the next step in their professional development. Now, from the Center for Career and Professional Development, we have two of my outstanding colleagues. We have Annie.
Hi, everyone. My name is Annie Superdini. I'm one of the directors in our Center for Career and Professional Development. I am excited to be a part of this event today and answering any questions that you have. I am a one-time alum from Sacred Heart. I graduated in 2007 with a bachelor's degree in psychology. I spent a number of years in corporate recruiting, specifically in talent acquisition, and I work with our employers on campus here, as well as our students and faculty with the College of Business and Technology.
Excellent. Thank you, Annie. And we also have Amy Novak.
Hi, everyone. I'm Amy Novak. I am the Associate Director of Student Engagement for the Center of Career and Professional Development. And I, like Annie, am also an alum of the university. I graduated in 2003 with my sport management degree, and then 2005 with my master's in business administration. I've worked in higher ed here at the university for many years in the student activities and student affairs area, and have joined our career center to bring student engagement opportunities to our students, focusing on our undecided and undeclared students, but also working with our media and communications and pre-health students as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Amy. And we would not be able to do this conversation without two of our hosts who are representatives from our Sacred Heart University Parent Council. We're very fortunate to have both Beth and Janet here with us today. Perhaps you could introduce yourselves.
Sure. My name is Beth Bohm. I am the parent of a junior, a business major, and as Keith mentioned, a member of the Parent Council. Happy to be here today.
Hi, I'm Janet Poriello. I'm a retired HR professional with a particular passion for that career person connection. I'm the proud mom of a Sacred Heart grad student working on her master's in elementary ed right now, and a college sophomore who's at another Northeast university.
Excellent. And thank you both for being here. So I figure, why don't we just dive right into some of these questions? So Beth, Janet, do you have anything for us?
Well, we do, and we have lots, but let me start with our first question. So talk to me a little bit about what career and professional development actually does at Sacred Heart University.
Absolutely, and I could actually take that question. So our office, we're dedicated to helping our students make the transition from campus to career. Now, that doesn't mean when a student is a senior, they're about to graduate and look for their first full-time job. Instead, we encourage all students to take advantage of our services beginning their freshman year, helping outline exactly what you could be doing, the tools, the resources to be taking advantage of throughout their next couple of years while they're here at Sacred Heart, to make sure that they're developing a competitive edge upon graduation so that they stand out as a candidate when they're applying for these different various roles. Now, we go through everything from career and major exploration, which I know Amy's going to want to touch on later. We have signature programs such as a job shadow program, mentorship, site visits, etc. And then we also assist students with everything from A to Z with the job and internship search. So helping the students get their resumes together, cover letters, finding opportunities to apply to, performing mock interviews, following up to the interviews, and even negotiating offers. So all we really need to know is that a student is interested in getting some experience, they want to expand their professional network. In our office, we are here to give those students the tools so that they can comfortably manage this network and again, build up that professional background and that resume upon entering the job market. Now, another great thing about our department, which I think is very unique to Sacred Heart as opposed to other universities, is that all Sacred Heart alumni have lifetime access to our services. So whether we are going to be assisting you with your first full-time position, or you're fourth, 20 years, 30 years down the line. You are always part of the Sacred Heart community, and we're always here to walk you through the job, internship, or career exploration process.
Great, thank you, Keith. Amy, I think this might be for you. Many parents have concerns about their students being undecided or even unsure about what types of jobs their major can bring them towards. How would career development be able to assist our students with this?
That's a great question, and one that we see our students come to us with often. One of the things that we like to say is that we have a lot of support and tools that our students can utilize in order to help get them on the path to figuring out what career they want and also what major. We say to the students, you have major decisions, we have major support. So come to us and we'll help guide them through that process. And one of them is through our Discover You program. And this is an opportunity for students who are undecided on a major, but also those who have declared a major and just don't know what career opportunities are available in that field. So what we do is we have an assessment that we have our students utilize. And many of our first year students, if not actually all of them, do take this assessment in their first year experience course. It is a dedicated week for those students to start really that exploration path. And this assessment really pulls out a lot of their personality traits, their interests, their values, and kind of what type of workplace environment they feel comfortable in. Where can they see themselves thriving? After going through that assessment, we encourage the students to meet with us so we can dive deeper and really give them the tools that they need to explore the different paths, different resources and sites that they can research. And not only having that conversation in person, but getting them to write down their information. Getting them involved in clubs and organizations, taking advantage of our Job Shadow program that Keith mentioned earlier, really putting themselves in the actual situations that are going to let them understand, I love this, this is something my interests line up with, or this is not for me, and that's okay. We want them to figure that out because it helps narrow down their opportunities and their interests. And the thing that we really want to hone in on is the fact that your major doesn't necessarily dictate your career. How can we match everything that you love and the interests that you have and really kind of merge them with a career that's going to bring you excitement and a day-to-day, every day going to work? So we want to make sure that our students understand this program and we meet with them one-on-one to make that happen.
Excellent. Well, I have a question about internships. So I know that not every major requires an internship, but I'm wondering, are they recommended? And second, when should our students be thinking about planning and putting together an internship?
Sounds like a question for me, Jen. I'm happy to take this one. So like you mentioned, not all academic programs and majors have a required internship, but speaking just from firsthand experience working in talent acquisition and HR, I cannot recommend internships enough. This does not mean that freshman year, day one, you need to start your internship search, but I definitely do encourage every single student to just keep it in mind, to keep it in their back pocket, knowing that, either yes, you do have to have one eventually as a graduation requirement, but in working with students, the more that you can put on your resume, the better. Now, that does not mean you need 4 or 5 formal 120-hour internships on your resume. It could just be as simple as something like Amy just mentioned, our Job Shadow program, networking with our employers and our alumni. But again, the more experienced, the more experiential learning opportunities that you can put on your resume, the more marketable you are going to be to an employer. So, and that's where we can help. Come to our office, utilize us. The more that we get to know a student, the better also that we can help them. I encourage whenever we have employers on campus to come and just say hi. They're here for a reason. They're here to meet Sacred Heart students specifically. So that's my one piece of advice. And just build up that resume. Try not to think of that internship requirement, if you do have that in your particular major, as just a checkbox, but as an opportunity to really expand your interest, to find out what it is that you're looking for. And also, like Amy mentioned, maybe what it is that you're not looking for.
That's great. Thank you, Annie. So besides internships, I think as a parent, we all want our students to shine when they get into the workplace. What other opportunities might there be for our students to increase their competitive edge and marketability upon graduation?
Absolutely. And it's funny, Beth, that you mentioned you want your student to shine as they approach the job market. That's what we want also. You know, we always say over and over that our students' successes are our successes. So that's why we want to make sure that we're thinking outside of the box the way that we can ultimately prepare them. So obviously internships are the most common way that someone could get practical experience. However, every student may not have the opportunity or even the accessibility to have a full-time internship. You know, we've seen internships last anywhere from a year long, a semester long, to shorter type of opportunities like micro internships, as we call it, where something could be a few days, a few weeks, or even just over winter break. Now, the main thing that we focus on is experiential learning, and that is basically giving students practical experience that could ultimately benefit them in the long run. So, as Amy and Annie mentioned, our Job Shadow program, we're connecting you with people who actually work in your field of choice. Now, you're not only learning about tips and advice from someone who's actually been working in the field, instead, you're expanding your professional network. So if I'm speaking with Tommy from Morgan Stanley and I've always wanted to get into investments, I know someone who ultimately works there. So I could reach out to them to see, you know, what kind of advice do they have for me on ultimately breaking into the field. Now, we also focus on various ways of engaging our employers to our students. So we always say that we're almost like a matchmaker. So we help our students connect to the employers, and we help the employers connect to our students. We have many events available throughout our semester, including recruitment weeks, mock interview weeks. So all these little opportunities that we put together, so mock interviews, hiring events, if there are etiquette dinners, we're not only doing that to just kind of help the student just learn a few things, they're all strategic. They're all helping these students make these contacts feel more comfortable and more confident in their field so that they're able to ultimately take the next step. So, you know, a main point that I would like to get across for parents is, especially if your child is an athlete or if they have a scholarship or they're very busy with certain academic programs, there are opportunities for them, you know, whether they have 60 hours a week to be able to devote to, or they only have 5 hours a week. You know, we can help figure that out, and it's definitely not the end of the road. But if you're a freshman, let's get started thinking about this. Do not wait until you're a senior, and that's when you want to start to get your experience, because when you get that little experience freshman year, it's going to help you get a better one sophomore year, then an even better one junior year, an even better one senior year, which ultimately will, fingers crossed, lead to a full-time job. So, you know, I would like parents and especially students to think beyond just internships, but instead actual practical opportunity, which again could be long-term or short-term.
Thanks, Keith. Amy,
Keith,
you look like you need a question.
Oh, sorry, Keith, you actually you make such a good point. You know, a lot of times we get students who come to our office and they can get very pigeonholed on a company, which is great, which is fine. However, so a student will come and they'll say, you know, Annie, I need to work at ESPN. I have wanted to work at ESPN since I was 5 years old. How can I do that? You know, we do work with so many employers and they are on campus. I would hate for students to really miss out on those opportunities just because maybe they missed an email or maybe they just weren't aware that we worked with ESPN. But companies like that are on campus, like I had said earlier, just for that specific reason. And students, I hear it all the time. They say, you know, oh, I really wanted to work at Vineyard Vines, and Vineyard Vines was on campus and they had a great conversation with them. And then they come in 6 weeks later and they say, I have an internship with Vineyard Vines. And that might have just been based on that one small, tiny conversation. So definitely encourage that.
Great. Amy, how do our students find out about career and professional development, and how do they make an appointment?
Great question. So one of my favorites, because getting the students to be aware of all the services that we offer and really being embedded in the student experience and where they are on campus. So I'm kind of going to walk you through a little bit of the pattern and way in which they start to learn about it. The first time they really start to hear about everything is at orientation. So we are out and about, whether we're at a table or mingling in at various different events. The students and families will be able to learn about the opportunities that our office offers. Then it comes down to our pre-fall programs. There may be some students on campus and those directors have requested different information and for our staff to come and present to them. So they'll start to hear our terminology and our office quite often right from the start. Once they're on campus, we hit a variety of different marketing areas. So one of the first things is via our email. We know the students do get a lot of emails, but we want them to really focus in on what's important. And something from this office is going to be a very good value to them throughout their entire 4 years. So they'll get emails from the career development email address. They'll also get them from their career counselor who oversees that community and will be putting out information regarding internships and jobs. So start to become familiar with the name of the counselor they work with. And then they'll also start receiving some newsletters and monthly information, possibly weekly. It really just depends on all the opportunities that are becoming available. In addition to that, you will also see that students receive a lot of marketing promotions within our hallways. There's a lot of poster cases and information. We start to advertise that way. And one of the main areas is right on our landing of our office suite. So if the students stop by the Linda McMahon Commons, on the second floor is where our office is located. On that landing, there will be information about upcoming internships that they could apply to. We have our employers tabling out there, giving information to students. We also have our staff out and about, and our office suite doors are always open. So we want students to actually come and see us, not to be afraid to step in and say hi. So that's one of the best ways. We'll promote to them, they can come promote to us, and we want to make sure we make that connection. Advertisements, and one of the biggest things that we really try to push our students, because we know they're all on their phones all the time. Social media is one of the most popular things, is getting them to follow our Instagram account. That is where we're pushing a lot of information that will be static and staying up there throughout their entire time. So @ShoeCareerDev is our handle, and we want our students to be following that because not only is there information, there's a lot of fun and giveaways and a lot of great tools that they can utilize to enhance their experience here on campus. That kind of covers how our students are hearing about us. And the one way they can make an appointment is by visiting our website. We encourage them to go to sacredheart.edu/career. And in the top of the page, you'll see a box that says schedule an appointment. That will direct them to our Handshake platform, which is not only the platform for making an appointment with your career counselor, but it is also the platform we push students to look for internships and jobs with all the employers that we work with and all around the country and the globe. So we really encourage them to utilize Handshake. If they have not set up their account, it's their username and password, very easy to do.
That's great, Amy. You make it so much fun. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So
I hope I covered it all.
You did. Speaking of employers, how does the Career Development Office work with employers? And what are some examples of employers or programs that are accessible to our students?
Oh, absolutely. So that's actually one of the things that it's one of my initiatives in my role here at Sacred Heart is employer engagement. We work with hundreds and really thousands of employers on campus, off campus. That's really one of the things that we really pride ourselves on is the relationships that we have with our employers. We work with Fortune 500 companies. We work with local entrepreneurs, startups, and really everybody and anybody in between. We really, again, we love our employers and our employers love Sacred Heart. Our employers are consistently coming back to Sacred Heart because they love our students. Maybe they've had an intern that was just very, very successful and they want to hire more. So that's really one of the things that again, we are so proud of is our employer partnerships. They are all also on Handshake. So as Amy mentioned, that's our career services platform. Our employers are posting their internships, their post-grad opportunities, and they're constantly on campus. Last year, we hosted a recruitment event, and Monday starting at 8 a.m. until Friday at 5 p.m., we had employers all over campus, and they were here speaking to Sacred Heart students. We also engage with our employers in other ways. So yes, they're on campus, they're at our events, but we're constantly also benchmarking with them to make sure that we are giving students our best advice possible. So asking things like, what are your hiring trends? What do you look for? So that we know if, for instance, an ESPN or Morgan Stanley looks for a particular skill, we want to make sure that we are providing that education and that guidance to our students to make them as marketable as possible. And then another thing with that, we can also go back and have conversations with faculty to say, hey, I just talked to JP Morgan last week, and they actually now really are looking for students who can code in Python. Really, really valuable information. So yes, we have employers from the big four accounting firms, local firms, like I mentioned, ESPN, Vineyard Vines, Morgan Stanley, I could go on and on and on. We have a ton of information too about employers that we work with on our website as well. So hopefully that answers your question.
Awesome. So Keith, I have one for you. So you touched during your introduction about kind of the relationship with alumni and how that continues. Can you speak in a little bit more detail about that, please?
Absolutely. So we actually have advisors who are dedicated to working with our alumni population. So, a lot of times we'll have some of our more seasoned alumni who would call and maybe they want some assistance, but they might have the hesitation that we're only equipped to be able to serve the more of the green population. So those who are going to be entering into their field, and again, simply put, that is not correct. So we work very closely with our alumni department, with Annie, who spearheads our employer relations team. And we're finding opportunities not only are available for those entry-level beginner type of professionals, but also again, for those more types of season. As I mentioned in my my opening with the quote that I say all the time is that our student successes are our successes. So that's why we make sure that we are always developing new opportunities, getting our students connected. And we're always love talking about the fact that we have about 99% placement rate for our alumni graduates. So that means within 1 year of graduation, about 99% of our students have indicated that they have either secured full-time employment, gone on to graduate school, or are happy with their choice of profession. And the reason why is because, again, with that individual support. So we don't just say that every student or every alumni that one size fits all. We understand that they all have absolutely different needs. Even for the fact of, the other day I was just meeting with a student or a recent alumni who was moving to Florida after she recently graduated. She was concerned, I don't know anybody in Florida, my professional network's not there. How am I going to be able to put my best foot forward? So what we did was we connected with our alumni department. We dove onto LinkedIn and we found alumni who are living in her specific area that she could get connected to. And again, proactively expand her professional network. So we find our students, they're going on to local opportunities, national, and even global opportunities. Also many of them, which has been exciting, is that they're not only just kind of looking for that solid 9 to 5, which we all know doesn't exist anymore, but the 9 to 5 of I'm going into a job and then I'm leaving. Instead, they're looking for multiple opportunities. So I love photography, but I'm majoring in finance. Well, that's great. Pursue your full-time finance career, but then also photograph weddings on the side, develop a portfolio, and you're making some extra money. So again, we think outside of the box, but every student, depending on what your interests are, we're going to help you with getting connected. So again, the main point that we want to keep getting across is that if you have a child or if you yourself are alumni and you feel a little lost, we are still here to support you just as if you were a freshman or a sophomore. So as an alumni, as we said before, once you're part of our community, you're always part of our community.
Thank you, Keith. That's great. So from time to time, parents will be concerned that their students are not taking advantage of the professional experiences that are offered through Sacred Heart. Maybe they haven't started applying for internships and the parents are starting to feel a little worried. What tips do you have for parents on helping guide their students towards these opportunities?
Absolutely. And Beth, I'll take that one again. And, the one thing that I want to stress is that this happens all the time. We also understand that our populations, they're 90% college students. So they've never applied for a full-time job. They've never applied for an internship. And especially if there is a student who is a first-generation college student, they might not have the influence for them to be guided on what's the appropriate timeline, et cetera. So the simple way that I want to answer this question, so it's funny, I have my master's in counseling, and there's this one theory for counseling, and it's solution focused. That's the way that we approach working with our students. You know, we have a lot of students who will come in and say, my internship was canceled because of the pandemic. I'm never going to find a job, or I didn't do as well as I hoped in that class. So, you know, I'm not going to be able to pass my GPAs. Calm down. Okay. Everybody just calm down. And what we're going to do is, what do we want to accomplish? And now we're going to develop a plan to ultimately get there. So yes, we have these, you know, these proposed timelines. So if you want to do a summer internship, you should be, for most majors, applying to those internships by January, February. You know, if you're going for some of those accounting or some of those more rigorous programs, you could even have to start applying in the fall semester. So if you do find yourself that I need an internship, or I need that full-time employment, or I need to do something, now it's last minute and I don't think it's ever going to work, before you panic, reach out to our office. You know, we find employers who will say to us that we have an opportunity, but we need someone to be filling it ASAP. As Annie mentioned, the more that we know the students, the easier it is for us to say, hey, let's call Mackenzie and let's see if she might be interested in that type of role. So again, we're in the students' professional network as well. But you know, the main thing that we want to say is, do not panic. It's never too late. And that's why we're here. We're here to walk you through the process. You know, we're never going to scold you. Everything is a learning opportunity. And we're going to walk you through step by step until you found something that, you know, is definitely more appropriate for you.
Well, thank you, Keith. You know, just one quick thing I have to add, and it looks like Amy has something to add too. You know, it's always a challenge trying to launch these young people into adulthood. And sometimes you need to find a way to encourage them to do something without shoving it down their throat, to be to be really direct. So you have to know your kid and know your family. In some cases, you have a way of speaking to them that's going to encourage them to do what they need to do on their own in regards to career planning. In other cases, you know, for me, I'm a single mom. My son's godfather is a great family friend and has a great influence over my children. And he takes them out to dinner once in a while and plants seeds that I've planted with him. So do what you need to do, but you might need to nudge these guys to really realize that how important it is to engage with your office early on. So anyway, I'm off my pedestal here. And Amy, you had something to say.
I did. Kind of going off of what Keith was saying is that it's never too late. I've been working with a lot of seniors recently who haven't even had their resume together yet, and they come in nervous and they want an internship. And so it's never too late to start one, but we want them to know that they can come in to see us at any point. If they just want a resume review or getting information, we have students, we have staff that are out in our lobby area able to help them on a dime if they just pop in, and they can have a more detailed meeting with one of us. But what we encourage them to do is, if they haven't had these internships, we want them to explore what they have been involved in. Encourage your students to get involved on campus. I met with a student who is very involved in a club, and while she didn't have an internship experience, and she's media and social media, and that's her goal, she's the social media chair of a club that she's involved in. Okay, so let's build that out. What have you been doing? What have you learned? Let's utilize that as some of your work experience, because you're making an impact and you're making a difference. An employer will see that and know that you have knowledge in this area, and it's not just that you went to class. So we will help them through that. And again, these are seniors and they're still looking for something. So if anything, I would say encourage your student to come see us and get that resume at least started. So when they do see an internship, they can apply and not feel like they're delaying their time. But regardless, either way, we'll still help them through it and try to get them on the path to finding something.
Great, thanks, Amy. So Annie, I'll direct this to you. So say you have a student who has applied to a bunch of, whether it be internships or jobs, and they're not hearing back. You know, what are the wise words that you have around that?
Oh gosh, this is probably one of the biggest points that I make in speaking with students is they sit down and they are frustrated. They've lost their motivation because they say, I've applied everywhere and it's not working. So the second I hear that, I tell the student, stop applying, and I go back. I walk back, I first make sure that their resume is in good shape. A lot of times students are applying maybe with outdated resumes that have not been looked at by our office. And we really want to make sure that we stop that, readdress, and really find out, well, why aren't you getting calls? It could be something as simple as the resume the formatting is all off. Working in recruiting, that resume gets reviewed. It's 6 seconds that a person reviewing a resume, you get 6 seconds. And whenever I tell a student that, they look at me like I have two heads. But it very well could be, and is most likely, the resume. So we really want to fix that and make sure that it does get evaluated by our office. I also tell every single student, you have to have a strategy when it comes to applying for either an internship or a job. Applying to 100 positions a week is not going to get you that internship or that job. It's not going to be like throwing spaghetti up against the wall. Really having a strategy. I would so much rather see a student apply to maybe 1 or maybe 2 a week. But to really, don't just sit there on LinkedIn and apply, but really be thinking about, why am I applying for this position? Finding somebody to reach out to. So I tell every single student, for every single job that you apply for, you have to find somebody to follow up with. And now you're thinking, well, I don't know anybody to follow up with. We can help. We can also help teach the students how to utilize LinkedIn, how to find HR professionals, how to find recruiters on their own, so that they can send an email to say, hi, Keith, I just wanted to write you as, maybe it's a Sacred Heart alum, as a fellow Sacred Heart alum. I just recently applied to this position, would love some time to speak with you about your background, to introduce myself. Time and time and again, students have these great conversations, whether it be in alumni or recruiting, and it can lead to an opportunity. So it's so important that you follow up and not just sit there and apply, but to really put some thought and some strategy behind your job search, making sure too that you know how to write a good cover letter and that it's not just a generic cover letter. That's a whole nother maybe hour-long conversation that I could have. But it has to be, really directed and again, just really have a strategy behind that. And that's where we can be of help, to really handhold them and to kind of walk them through the process of, once you have a job that you've applied to, let's find somebody to follow up with. It's possible that I have an email address. It's possible that we have a wonderful connection already with that company and with that contact, and we can just give you their email address and then help you write that email.
Thank you, that was great. So as much as I think we would like to not talk about this, I think we would all like to know, what has the pivot been during COVID, especially for our students that are applying for jobs and internships? What does that look like through the Career Development Office?
Yeah, I know you make such a good point. You hate to talk about it, but it's still here, still around. So we will talk about it. So I think now that we're 2 years in, I think the trend of what we've seen with our students is, I hate to say it this way, but I'm giving up, right? Nobody's hiring. What's the point? I'm just going to wait. That is certainly not the case. Employers are hiring. Yes, there are employers that we have worked with that last summer had to make difficult choices and they did have to cancel internships, but not all of them. One thing that we've actually noticed, which, if you can find a silver lining in this whole pandemic, I would say it gives us so much more access to our employers and to opportunities. We've seen students who live in Boston and they worked for a Los Angeles-based company. I mean, how cool is that? That is not something that maybe pre-pandemic could have been possible. So we've seen, geographic location may no longer be an issue. A lot of companies are only hiring remote workers. On Handshake, we have, there's even just a checkbox that when you're searching for an internship or a job, you can put that you're only looking for remote jobs. So that's certainly an option. It even gives us access to employers who may still be at home and they can't travel to campus. they're willing to have virtual conversations with us, virtual programming. We've expanded our employer engagement offerings to employers that we've never worked with before, but because they're virtual, we actually can. We don't have to fly them out. We don't have to put them up in a hotel and feed them all kinds of meals. It's right here, right on Zoom. So while maybe not always ideal, it certainly has expanded the way we work with employers, and it's great for students too. One thing too, our office has a remote badge program. It's a digital badge that we implemented last year. I think Keith was about a year ago now. We actually have a virtual badge that students can elect to take through our office. It is a 3-module based digital badge that students can take on their own. We do have cohorts. We worked with employers, we worked with alumni to put together content based on what does it mean to be good at remote work. So we have that as an offering. If any parents who are on this who are interested, please, you can either email us or you can look on our website, but certainly push your students to do that. Employers find it exciting. You can put it on your resume, you can put it on LinkedIn, and employers are asking, what is this Sacred Heart University remote work badge that you have? And they can talk about it, and they can talk about the fact that, yes, they are ready for remote work. So I hate to be talking about COVID with a huge smile on my face, but it really has, it has done a lot, I think, for students and employers to connect.
Great. Thank you, Annie. So, we're about to wrap up our time together, and students are heading back to campus shortly. What can parents be doing to, again, give that gentle suggestion, and what are kind of some tips or summarizing next steps that you all might have?
Absolutely. And I'll take a shot at this, and then definitely Amy, Annie, if you want to add, please feel free to do so. The main thing that I would say is to be proactive. Many of our advisors in our office, the most common thing that we do is we sit down with students and we just have a conversation. So your student doesn't necessarily have to come in with, I need an internship this semester, or I need a full-time job. If they just want to have a conversation about what can I do to increase my competitive edge upon entering the job market, or I'm majoring in marketing, but I don't really know what I can do with it. Can I get exposed, or can I learn a little bit more about that field? Take advantage of it. Do not feel like you have to have a specific outcome when you meet with us. Let's sit down, let's have a conversation. Let's just develop a game plan. Even if a student is a sophomore and we say that it's probably going to make more sense for you to do an internship your junior year, at least that student knows it. So again, it's never too late, but what I would say is encourage your child, your student, to make an appointment to reach out to us so that we can sit down and start working on their individual plan. Because we don't want to be frantically doing this. There's a lot on the line, especially when you're going to such a competitive institution. We want to make sure that you know what your next step is going to be. So confusion, that's absolutely okay. That's what we're ultimately here for. Annie, Amy, anything else that you wanted to add?
I'll add in that, have your students take advantage of all of the opportunities that are given to them. Take advantage of the services that our office provides and kind of be aware of what's going on. So whether it's a presentation that's being offered within your class or your club or organization or your residence hall, just go. It can't hurt to attend something. It's gonna benefit you, and the student, if anything, will walk away with more confidence and more comfort with whatever the topic was. Just being proactive, attending the recruitment events. They're gonna be nervous, and we all were. We were all in their shoes once, where, what do I do? This employer's there, what do I say? But just know that we're all there to help guide them and help them feel comfortable. But they do that now. Then when they go to an internship or going to an interview, they're going to feel a lot more confident and be able to be out there knowing that this is what I have to offer. And so we want them to start doing that now. And there's so much for them to do here. We just want them to be aware of what's going on and take a step out of their comfort zone.
Yeah. And then Amy, I do also, we work with seniors who are maybe a little too late, right? I've worked with a student who came to me, was it last year, a senior, and he was an arts and media sports guru, and he decided he wanted nothing to do with that after his senior year. And that's okay too. So I think that our point, right, is no matter where you are in the process, no matter what age, we've seen students, you know, who I haven't seen until a day before graduation, I've met them. All the way from the beginning, day one, freshman year, I've gotten to know them, and anyone, you know, right in between. But we're able and ready and willing to help them and to walk them through that process, because it really is never too late. It's just a matter of clicking that schedule a new appointment button on Handshake or on our website, and then once they're here, we'll take them through the process.
Absolutely. And thank you both. And again, I think the main aspect to walk away with is that we're here to support, you know, so we don't expect either the students or their families to just have all the answers. We're a resource here on campus, and we're here to walk you throughout the process. So as we do wrap up, a few other takeaways, please visit us online. If you go to sacredheart.edu/career, you can find our brand new website, which we have chock full with resources from resume building, available internships, career exploration, information about different programs that we have to offer, etc. But also, you'll find all of our contact information on there should you or your student have any questions or ask to set up an appointment. I do want to thank my colleagues, Amy and Annie, and our outstanding hosts for today from our parent council, Janet and Beth. And I don't know, I'm sure we have a lot of questions about people who are wondering about the parent council. Would either of you like to kind of tell us a little bit more about it?
Well, I'll give you my quick 2 cents, and then I'm going to pass off to Beth. It's been a really wonderful experience for me. I've now been involved 5 years. It's a great way to engage with other parents. It's a great way to have a deeper connection with the university that your child is attending. We do great things. We welcome new families that come on board to the university. It's not a big time commitment. And it's just been a pleasurable experience for me personally. And Beth, I'll let you take it from there.
Well, I echo that exactly, and probably put an exclamation mark on it. That was great. I do want to just kind of reiterate what you said, that it is a very small time commitment. We have meetings about twice a year. While our students are leaving the nest and entering their own adulthood, to the degree that they are, it gives us an opportunity to be connected to the university. And I think we can all agree that Sacred Heart is a special place, and having our own little home there has been just a really special opportunity. We do have a webpage, sacredheart.edu/parent council, if you wanted more information. And we'd be happy to reach out and share more with you about the opportunities that are available.
Absolutely.
Excellent. And again, thank you both for being here today. Thank you, Amy and Annie. And thank all of you for watching. And again, please, this is just an introduction. Should you have any additional questions, we're always here to help. But I wish your students and yourselves a very happy, healthy, and successful spring 2022 semester. Take care now.